Hey guys, it's Merc here, and I am bringing you a video about how to essentially get the first stage of the Legendary Daggers. They're very powerful as it is, but obviously in the Legendary stage they're going to be completely ridiculous. But here are the initial quests. I'm sure some of you have done it already, but I wanted to make a video about it anyway, and just take some of the people who don't know what to do through the steps. Now it's very step by step. Basically where you start it is in the instance, the Dragon Soul instance. After you defeat the first boss, there'll be a guy and he's like, hey, prove your worth, pickpocket a ring. So you're like, okay, now presuming you've already killed the other two bosses, what you want to do is make your way up to the top of the tower and take the portal to the Eye of Eternity. Now the Eye of Eternity is where the boss you need to pickpocket is. It's this Hagara, the storm something. It's not important. Big ugly orc and shaman gear. And when you're there, you just need to walk up and pickpocket her after you've cleared the trash, and that stage is done. Now once you've got the ring, what you want to do is take that to the guy and be like, hey, I've got the ring, and he's going to be like, sweet, sweet, sweet. Decode that for me, would you? So you take it to Stormwind, see one of the other real guys, and he's like, hey, that'll be 10,000 gold, and you're like, fine. And he's like, come back in 12 hours, it'll be charged. Or no, he gives you the ring and it takes 12 hours to charge. Now 12 hours later you head to the Red Dragon Shrine in the Twilight Highlands and you talk to Cora Strazazaza, and she's like, hey, here's the message, you need to decode this. And you're like, okay. Oh, exciting information. Right, we better take this straight away to the guy sitting outside. And now because I've already done the quest and I'm just kind of going back through this to recount for you guys, the guy isn't actually there, but I've basically just said, hey man, to demonstrate that there would be a guy essentially right in front of me. You should also pretend that that dragon is that guy who was a dragon. Now he'll take you on a very scenic and long flight through the Arathi Highlands and Hillsbrad footholds to the Ravenhold Manor. Now once you get there, you're going to have to stealth past all of these guards. Now I've already done it, but basically you'll have a big old circle around you, and you can't let any of those guards touch that circle, otherwise you get detected and you have to do it again. It's not that hard. It took me a couple of tries, but it's really not that hard. And once you get past everyone, all you have to do is head back around to the other side of the building, and basically there's like a rope on the ground, like where I'm sitting here and making that funny movement, and it'll take you to the roof, and right in front of me on the roof here there'll be a hatch to the inside of the tower. Now once you're on the inside of the tower, you go down the stairs. Now once you're down the stairs, you jump off the balcony and avoid everyone and go down in the basement, and there'll be an egg, and you're like, whoa, that egg is hatched, and there'll be a cutscene. Now after the cutscene you go back up the stairs with the guy, and you're like, and he's like, you know what, you can be of use to me, I won't kill you. And he's like, hey, go kill a dragon. And now that dragon is over in Gilneas. He's making some kind of army or something. Very diabolical. And he tells you to go see this mage. Now the mage isn't actually there because I've already done the quest line. And the mage essentially tells you that you have to sneak past all the people in the city and get to the dragon without being detected, otherwise you're useless. So cue montage of me failing at that. Now, since you don't want to do all of that, here is the method that I found the most promising for actually getting to those daggers. Now, at the end of this, you'll notice that there was a little bit of interference from someone else who was also trying to sneak past everyone and get the daggers, but the end part isn't as hard as the bit just before the interference. Now, you can actually sap people as you go along in here. You just can't touch them with the edge of that circle. Now, the inner edge of the circle is the actual detection range. The outer edge is the, hey, notice me range. Like, if they touch that, they'll stop and just be like, hey, I swear to God I saw something. And they actually saw you, but they just didn't know it because you're being very sneaky. Now, I'm sure you're watching what I'm doing in the video, so basically you just gotta follow this path and hope you don't run into any of the patrols. And if you do, try your best to sap them and not get noticed by anyone else. Now, there is a very, very hard part coming up. You guys can probably hear the thunder in the background. It's about to storm. But, good God, it really is about to storm. Anyway, sneak along this edge. Try not to touch any of the patrols. I nearly get caught here by the guy who pats just along that edge. Yeah, he caught me a few times while I was attempting this. But just jump down here, sap that guard. Now make sure you're not touching the previous guard with the circle before you sap the next one, otherwise you're in for trouble. Now, sap the left soldier, like the closest soldier on the left, and try and basically walk over to the sleeping dog, or walk past the sleeping dog without touching any of the people. Now, they have bugged on me a few times and just detected me anyway, but yeah, it's a fine art. Such as there. Now, I got past them a few times and failed at other parts, but you can actually vanish before they hit you, and you can continue going. Now, that helped me a lot when I actually found that out. Now, here's the interference I was talking about. If they didn't interfere, what you just do is follow the left-hand edge and make your way through this gate to this guy. Now, when you get here, you're going to notice he has a god-awful amount of HP. He's got like 2 million health. But what they don't tell you and what they don't explain is, unlike any kind of normal boss, he can actually be stunned by all of your rogue abilities. Like, he can be fully CC'd, you know, by all of your kidney shots and blinds and gouges and all of that. What you do want to watch out for, though, is he has 3 main abilities, I suppose. He has that circle thing. That's the uninterruptible one. Puts a circle on the ground. It does 10k HP per tick if you're standing in it, which isn't good at all. You really got to avoid that. And the other one is a casted 20k Shadow Bolt. That can be interrupted. I missed a couple just because Aussie lag. I had like 300 MS when I was going through this. But yeah, that can be interrupted, and it should be interrupted. And blind is one of your big kind of tools during this fight, I should very much add, because it's what saved me when I found out that it was what I could use to get away from this guy, because he's a big old pain in the butt. But you do have recuperate, so once you have recuperate up, just blind him and get all your health back. Pretty much it's a full reset. Now, that's the third ability I was talking about. It's like a shadow breath, but it's only in a cone in front of him and he doesn't spin around or anything, so when he does that you can backstab him or whatever. I'd probably suggest doing this in subtlety spec, just because you do have all those tools. Just basically PvP the hell out of him. PvP, the PvE guy. Just to confuse you. He can be disarmed, he can be blinded, all of that stuff. Yeah. The only other tip I would have for you is, yeah, wear your PvE, wear your PvP gear and just play it like a PvP thing. Use your instant and deadly poison, and make sure, for Christ's sake, you have a glyph of blind. Otherwise, you're in for a world of hurt. I'd also suggest going the actual hemorrhage spec rather than the backstab and hemorrhage spec, just for killing this guy, because it makes it more difficult as backstab. Plus the normal hemorrhage spec has that extra healing, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's quite good indeed. But yeah, once you get this boss down, it's pretty much smooth sailing for the rest of the quest. Yeah. Also, just kite him around. You can kite him around all you want, especially if you have any kind of crippling poison. Or you can just run around anyway. He's kind of slow, and he stops all the time to cast things. I actually don't know how much that cone of purple stuff does damage-wise, so I'd probably just avoid that altogether if you can help it. And basically just utilize your kidney shot whenever you have it up. Now, once you get this guy down, all you have to do is go outside and go see the gnome again that, like, you know, messed you around and kept teleporting you back to her before and giving you words of encouragement and such. That gnome annoys the hell out of me. And is it a her or a he? I think it's a he. But yeah, after that, that guy will tell you to basically go back to Hillsbrad, Ravenholt, and hand the quest in to the guy, and he's like, hey, here'll reward you handsomely, have these really ridiculous daggers. And so you go ahead and take off and fly all the way back to Hillsbrad and hand them in. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. I've tried to do it while avoiding as many spoilers as possible. This is just a step-by-step guide to help you guys do it the easiest way possible, since I did a lot of running around before I actually figured out where, in fact, to go. So yeah, enjoy your new daggers, and I'll keep you updated as I progress in the quest. Now, the next part of the quest is getting 333 geodes off the mobs in Dragon Soul, and I'd imagine that'd take quite a while.
Excellent work.
I'm not sure how that works, how many weeks that would take, but yeah, I'll keep you posted, and I hope you enjoyed this step-by-step guide. If it helped, don't forget to like and favorite, and spread the word. And cheers, guys. Merc out.